Good morning everyone and welcome to the Business Leaders Breakfast Series. Today I have with me Kellie Evans, owner of Central West Media. Good morning, Kel.
Good morning.
How are you today?
Yeah, good, thank you. Good, thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for being here today. So for those of you who don't know, Kel owns Central West Media. She's also involved in a whole range of other community initiatives. She is the wife of one of our board members, Rich Evans, and together they are quite the dynamic duo. So we're here today to talk all about Kel. So for those of you that don't know, could you tell us a bit about yourself, Kellie?
Sure. So my name's Kellie. My husband and I own a newspaper publication in the Central West that goes from the top of the mountains right the way down through to Bathurst. We have 3 kids, a big dog. We live locally as well, so we're fully entrenched. Originally, we came from Penrith, so we were looking for that tree change opportunity and actually stopped through Portland on our way back home and discovered all the amazing things that were there, and we could see the possibilities, we could see ourselves there. It felt like home.
Can you tell us about your journey as the owner of Central West Media? How did you come to accumulate that business?
Yeah. Look,
and what were you doing before that?
Sure. So before that, we were living in Penrith. We had our web design and development, software creation business. And when we moved out to Portland, we thought we were going to slow down a little. We thought we were going to ease into that nice country lifestyle. And we had been around town for not quite a year, and we were involved with a lovely local event that happened in Portland that isn't going at the moment, but you never know, these things always make a comeback every now and then. But we're working with this lovely event that they have each year in Portland, and we were struggling to get a little bit of press around it. And unfortunately, when my husband has a mission and he's looking to achieve a certain thing, it was enough inspiration for us to sort of really look at what a business model like that would look like. So very much with a community focus. We wanted it to be a free pickup paper so that it was accessible, and really have that focus on good news, community news, a little bit of sports news. Just have a different narrative. There's just scope in our community for a couple of different kinds of media, and we thought what we were looking to achieve was a little bit of a feel-good read and talk about all the really positive stories.
Which is fantastic,
that we've got.
And the world needs so much more of that, I think.
It does. We stepped it up a notch, particularly around the last couple of years in our region. There's been sort of one catastrophe after another, so I think that steady voice, that light at the end of the tunnel mentality, which is what we have around that business. There's always a way to tell a story that perhaps is not as positive for our community, but there's always a way to tell it where we can share what the reader can do to contribute, or what somebody else is doing to help change a situation, just not leaving them hanging.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, I must say it's a fantastic publication, and you've recently merged the two, Village Voice and Bathurst City Live.
That's right.
Central West Voice.
It is the Central West Village Voice. So
Village Voice.
Yep.
My apologies.
It's okay. We actually amalgamated them in 2019. That was our big COVID response. Really, we'd sort of tracked through the first wave of the COVID, and then maybe it was I think sure at the end of 2019 we sort of thought, look, maybe the better way to do this is to amalgamate them. It was really more about the distribution.
And 2 publications, that's a lot of work.
Exactly, a lot of work, which we're more than happy to do the work. I think it was really more when the restrictions were coming around, how you could move out of the area. We were needing to head down to Sydney to pick up the papers, so it was important, I think, that we kept our delivery people safe as well as ourselves.
That's right.
So, and it just seemed to make sense, and I think the benefit of that has been that there is actually a lot of regional news that's really relevant from the top of the mountains out to Bathurst, particularly when we focus on that arts and culture and community events. I think we do share a lot of that kind of readership, and I think, it's nothing for us to travel out to Bathurst for something fun or vice versa. So
definitely, and we're seeing that a lot too. There's a lot of inter-region travel at the moment, especially prompted by COVID, but people are discovering so much more about our region, the hidden gems of our region, and just supporting each other is a really good thing.
How nice is it to be a tourist in your own home?
It's lovely.
Different perspective of things.
And there's so many. There is so many tree changes now as well, and they're all coming out. They're starting new initiatives, starting new events. There's just so much on Very exciting times for the Central West.
It is, definitely.
So you are currently involved in a project called the Annex at the Foundation's Portland. Can you tell us a bit more about that?
Definitely. So we took over management of that space in July with the goal of putting in a bit of a pop-up cafe, focus on, again, that arts and culture vibe. So we've got a lovely gallery space that we've created. It's a really big space, so we've sort of cut it in half a little bit.
That's stunning.
Yeah, I think it has come together really, really nicely. But the focus for us has definitely been on that arts and culture vibe, and we're looking to put a makers program in place in the new year, which helps foster and cultivate people that are really clever with their hands or have found a really interesting skill or hobby during COVID, or maybe something they've always been really had a passion for and are looking to take it to their next level. They might come out to our market, so they might sell some things online, they might be doing some things at home, but are looking to go a little bit further with it. So if we can create that sort of maker space, it allows them to be able to have a space to work on their projects, but also then have access to our co-working space that we have. Exactly.
Networking.
Exactly right. Exactly right. And we would love to see a really busy hub of creative people moving about the space and sharing and working together. We're still working through the final details of it, and we're really excited that it's going to be a really positive addition to where we've already started.
Definitely. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Now, you're involved in tongue-tied. An initiative called Women with Altitude, and you're looking at setting up a chapter here in Lithgow, is that correct?
We're having some discussions at the moment with the amazing women that started this terrific women's networking activity I think they're in their 16th year.
Wow.
Earlier this year they started a Bathurst chapter that I went out to. We met some really lovely new ladies that I hadn't met before, which is always so nice. It's a very inclusive and very welcoming women's focused networking. So there's monthly meetings depending on what location you're at. They hold other workshops through the year. They do a lot of online stuff. They do a lot of Zoom kind of things, which is really great. Just means that no matter what kind of business you may have as a woman, or your involvement in that business, or even where you're at with your business, you can find the right time to be able to participate in some of their online stuff or get out to an actual face-to-face kind of catch-up, depending on sort of where you're at. So it was lovely. It was nice to get out to Bathurst when they started earlier in the year, and I just could see that there might be a little bit of room in Lithgow for something similar. So we're just having some beginning chats, but it would be lovely to think that we could add another business networking event here in Lithgow. I think it would be a really, really beneficial.
The more the better, definitely.
There's no limiting on that sort of thing. Certain things speak to certain people, and while this is particularly centred around women, I think we do sometimes need a slightly different toned networking event. I think we're a little bit more can be a bit more nurturing, We love a coffee and a catch-up chat. It doesn't necessarily need to be as structured as other events either as well, but there is a beautiful format. So, we don't have to recreate the wheel at all. They've got many, many, many chapters. I couldn't even tell you the number of chapters that they've had going in that time since Andrea started.
And
so
going back to that word nurturing and inclusiveness, and sometimes these initiatives can be really intimidating to some people, to attend and think, everybody knows each other, and my business isn't at that level, but to have that welcoming space is totally because we elevate each other.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. And it really is, it is for anybody. There's actually a real diversity, even just with the Bathurst chapter of some of the ladies that get together. So, we'll see where that goes. It'd be good fun.
Fingers crossed. Now, one thing we've noticed about Lithgow lately is that the LGA is moving on up. There are big things happening here. I must say, I had not been to Lithgow except for McDonald's with my kids. I'm sorry. For many, many years, walking through the town yesterday, it was beautiful. It was clean. The parks, the flowers, the greenery, the artwork in the main street. There's, really beautiful things happening. So can you tell us about, from your perspective, where the Lithgow and Portland area are at and where it's headed?
Definitely. Well, look, I can only give my perspective, I suppose, not necessarily having my finger on the pulse when it goes to sort of higher up where things are going. But I've certainly noticed in the time that we have lived in this region that the beautification and the arts and culture vibe has certainly shifted. So when you notice that there's some amazing art that's been up on the walls, our lovely tidy towns here in Lithgow have been instrumental in bringing a lot of that kind of activation into the main street in particular. But there's been a whole shift in businesses that have come in. Some have gone, but then new have come back again. And I think that whole streetscape has been certainly a focus. When it comes to Portland, it is a little slower with the shift, but certainly we've seen, again, some new businesses that have come to town, which just changes that dynamic of what it looks like from a visitor coming to a street, and you can sort of see, you know, new window displays and all this kind of really lovely stuff.
The whole vibe, and so much that we're hearing about that's happening. You've got Steamworks, you've got the Foundations Project. Right, we're here today at the Western Sydney campus at Lithgow. So, you know, all these wonderful things happening. We're just really excited for Lithgow. It's a great time to be here. And I'm interviewing the mayor this afternoon.
Exciting, lovely.
Hearing about that too.
Definitely.
What makes the Lithgow Portland area such a great place to live, and what's the community here like?
Well, I would say, again, from my perspective, when it comes to a town like Portland, we were able to find that it had all of the really important things for us. At the time, we had preschool age kids and then a son that was in primary school. 10 years on now, so they're not in preschool anymore. They're all gone through. They're going through their schooling now, but out at Portland, it's a central school, so it's a K to 12, so it's this lovely transition for the kids. Nice. I have my daughter going into high school next year, and so they've really taken advantage of the benefits that have been provided to them. Even through a small school, they've had a lot of amazing programs that have been on offer. They're a really proactive environment, looking for the opportunities for their kids. Really, so that was really important. The environment it's a lovely place. Like you know, you're not struggling to find somewhere to go for a nice walk, to catch a breath, or just to change your scenery for a minute. You know, certainly I would say that the environment is one of those amazing things that we have access here. And you can get a little complacent. We're 10 years in, so you have to remind yourself that, you know, let's go down to Lake Wallace for a walk after dinner, you know, now that look, there's just so many great things that families are looking for these days, which is where you are seeing that tree change coming, because we've got a little bit more space. We don't have those zero boundaries. We've got a little bit more space between us. You know, you still have our neighbours and all that kind of stuff, but there's just a little bit more space around that kind of thing.
You're so close to Sydney. I often think
still.
to myself, we should have bought a house in Lithgow 20 years ago. And I'd always say, I wish Orange was where Lithgow is. You know, it's just, you're so accessible to everything.
Definitely. I think every region has its place. I think certainly one of the lovely uniquenesses with this sort of Central West Lithgow is that we are that gateway back. So, you know, we are right at the base of the mountain there. So, you know, once people decide to go a little bit further, we don't stop at Katoomba, keep coming. There's a lot more to see and do.
I agree. You're on the doorstep of Wallen 9 National Park. You've got the glowworm tunnels. We've tried to come a couple of times, they've been closed.
Yes, been a bit
can't
unfortunate.
wait to bring the kids to that.
Absolutely. There are just so many interesting things. You can fill in a day here, you can fill in a weekend, you could fill in a week. You know, and we've got an amazing tourism information centre that will help you plot and plan a trip like that as well. So, you know, really take advantage of where you can go from here. You can head out to Orange, where there's an amazing food and wine culture. You can head the other way and head out through past the Capity Valley and then head out to Mudgee. There's a whole heap of other really amazing things that way as well. And, you know, you don't want to forget of stopping in at Bathurst. You know, they're our neighbours, but they've got an amazing arts and culture and museum culture happening there now. There's a lot of really cool things that you can do. And, you know, you're less than 2 hours out of Sydney. You can stop here, spend a few days in this sort of area, and then you can certainly move on further out, you know, even as far out as Dubbo. There's just so much that you can see and do in there. And I think if you are looking for a silver lining when it comes to things like COVID, that you can you know, be a tourism in your own home, in your own state, you know, and really sort of have a look at what there is on offer, because Portland has a lot of great interesting things, and we're evolving it now. There's lots of arts and culture. We have our silos, which are amazing to have a look at. We have the activations that we're working on as well. But there's lots of other little towns that are also moving forward in their way as well.
Totally.
So,
and
you
they
know,
have such a strong sense of
they
community,
do. They totally do.
Get together and deliver some wonderful events and initiatives.
They do. As a region, you know, there's a lot going on at any one time. We've just come off the back of a couple of weekends of the Lithgow Arts Trail, which is where working artists open their studios, or there's a couple of us like our place that have, there's some galleries, another gallery as well here in Lithgow, as well as what we have out in Portland. Very different sort of environments, but a collective of interesting stuff. So, but there's almost always something happening or going on that you can that you can have.
The Halloween festival a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah,
that looked absolutely
such
fantastic.
good fun. It is such good fun.
Costumes were out of this world. Everyone
Yes.
gets right involved. involved.
We do. We totally do. I think as a community, we pretty much get behind that one. It's one of those really great, fun atmospheres when it's something a little bit different. My family in particular, we love a good dress up. We love to pull it all together. So, we think about these things for weeks. So you really do have that fun build up to these sorts of events as well. But it was a great night. It was such a good night, and the weather was great. It was a little chilly, a little windy, but for our area, it was pretty good.
Sounds great, Kel. So with everything going on, you're involved in so much. I also know you're on the P&C for school. You're involved in Women with Attitude, Women with Altitude, and a little bird told me that you're actually nominated for 2 awards next week with Women with Altitude. It's a bit of a tongue tie.
I know. I think you can almost throw the attitude depending on what the day is. But
Tell us about the awards that you're up for, and how did you get nominated for these awards? What have you done to?
I couldn't tell you who actually nominated me for those awards, but whoever it was, thank you. It was such a lovely thing to do. The Two Peas in a Pod award is for a partnership. So I guess that's really for Rich and for myself in some of our business activities that we were, more like a partnership, how you work in your partnership, how you've grown in your partnership. Rich and I have been married for 25 years this year, and it's a big milestone. It was lovely. We took a couple of days off, but we've been in business for over 20 years, and so that's comes with its ebbs and flows, its highs and slows. I'm sure I've been fired just as many times as I've quit, but at the end of the day, I think it was you sort of navigate that, and I think it was a lovely to be thought of in that way for an award that we might be thought of in a way that we do work well together, which we try really hard. It's never just a natural thing. I think it's a learned behaviour for sure. I think anybody working with their partner, their life partner, as well as just a business partner, you do really have to work at those relationships. They don't come easy, and it is a lot of understanding, and also, I guess, working on how you communicate. If you can't communicate, that's going to always be one of those things, and it's evolving.
True, isn't it?
You've got to try every day. Yep, and you've got to try that one every day. So that's a really lovely acknowledgement. And it's a bit cliche, but it's just nice to be thought of in that way. So
definitely. And
it was lovely.
Award is the
Community Connector Award, and again, not sure who put me forward for that one, but I think that sort of is. I like to think it's sort of in that nice community aspect, It's probably a little bit of our newspaper role, because we do get out to a lot of community events and show our support that way. Probably also what we're doing at the Annex, at the Foundation site. That is, again, another sort of community collaborative kind of thing. We need our community to come in and support that, and they come in and visit us and, grab a little simple tea and coffee from me, or grab a little treat, and they enjoy the art. That we have a lot of local art. So, it was really nice to be thought of. So.
Absolutely. Well, best wishes for next week.
Thank you.
Being nominated is such a lovely thing.
It is. It was a really nice thing.
Definitely. So I have a couple of last questions, and then we'll get to a fast 5, which is always really exciting. What is the best piece of advice you've received from a previous mentor which has stayed with you and supported you with your career to date?
I would think it was probably more a sentiment than anything else, and I think it's probably something we've already touched on, which is that communication, and how important that is in your work life, in your family life, with your friends. I think
so true.
I think it is. I think it is not alone. I think it is something you do have to work on, and how we want to be communicated with, it might not be how you need to communicate back to somebody. So it's trying to get a little bit of an understanding around your people side of things. I think that's probably been one of the things that's always stayed with me, I think. And probably something, and I think probably the other thing that I would add with that is, and this is probably something that is a watched behaviour rather than advice given, but my husband is one of these guys that you can always learn something more. So you need to continually be working on your craft, even if it's just little steps or a little thing that you can do for yourself in a day or in a week, to just, make sure you're staying across all the really important stuff in your field, or even if it's just learning or reading something that is for yourself, I think we're not above a bit of self-love, and self-education is part of that, I think, taking a minute just to sit and read your phone for a minute, in a positive way, not necessarily your 10-minute Facebook break way.
I really enjoy
something that's good for you.
Topics and, my mind, finding out, ways to help different areas of my life.
Definitely.
Great advice. What do you like to do on weekends here in Lithgow with Rich and your family, and what advice could you offer anyone visiting the region of the top things to do here?
I reckon the best advice would be give yourself 2 days. Try and find an overnighter. There are so many cool little places and pockets you can stay, you know, in Lithgow.
Really cool Airbnbs around
Really
that
great.
area. Yeah.
Great Airbnbs. We've got a really great property at Willarawang, the Black Gold. They've got some amazing cabins and they're always working on something new there. So really great, good quality accommodation. Here in Lithgow, there's again some really great operators that have got some great accommodation. So give yourself a little bit more time to slow down and get lost a little bit. You know, don't schedule and plan. Have an itinerary. Don't get lost somewhere we can't find you. But you know, give yourself a minute to stay a little longer or to stop past a farm stop and have a little look at something, or find a gallery and pop in to see that, or, you know, enjoy a park that, you know, has got something fun. There's a lot of great things like that around. So slowing down, I think, is certainly the trick. And if you give yourself a little bit of extra time, either end of your trip, that might help find something that you just did was a bit unexpected. So that would be it.
I'm going
Of
to bring
course.
my husband and my children here and get a bit lost.
Love.
Go to Glowworm Tunnel.
Nice.
See some of the national park.
Lovely.
Thank you for being here today. We have our Fast Five now,
Okay.
which is always very interesting.
I know. The fast part's got me
No,
stumped,
don't
but we'll be
worry.
right.
We won't go too far.
Okay.
Every dream dinner guest.
See, I don't know whether I'm just not that person. I think I would like it to be, and like I'm a little kitschy as well. So, you know, J-Lo.
Great, love it.
Couldn't imagine a more interesting person. You know, you want to be also a little bit cultural. So I don't know, I could probably, look, Kylie Kwong. Like, you know, somebody with a really interesting, again, take on food and how we live. That would be really amazing. And then, I don't know, like my gran. I don't know what J-Lo and my gran would, you know, but I would love to, as an older girl, an older lady, have a different kind of chat. We haven't had her around for a little bit, so I just think that would be a really nice moment too. So
Brilliant. Kel, your favourite holiday destination in Australia or overseas?
Well, I haven't been overseas just yet, but we do have something planned for the new year. Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed.
But within the country, I would probably say there's probably 2 spots, and this is me following my husband's family. They're currently at Southwest Rocks. It's a beautiful part of the world. It's a bit of a haul to get there from being regional. Sort of got all the way through Sydney, then you head regional again. Such a nice place. We always have such a good time. There's not much there that I don't enjoy us doing. They've got great eats, great sort of beaches where the kids can get a little bit more carried away, or something nice and relaxed. That's always really nice. And then the other end of the scale would probably be a place called Tomican, just near Bateman's Bay.
Okay,
Again,
I haven't heard of that.
Yep, it's a really lovely little pocket. Again, it's where some of my husband's family were living at the time. So you sort of head down through Bateman's Bay, go past Mogo, which has got a great little zoo,
yes.
and it's a lovely little enclosed beach that we used to go to and take the kids when they were a bit younger. So it's beachy. We're not massive beachy people, but they are definitely the places that we've enjoyed the most. So
Fantastic. Thanks for the tips. A hidden gem of the Central West. This can be a person, place, venue, or event.
Hidden gem. Well, if we give too much away, then it's not such a hidden gem. Look, I would probably have to think about that one a little bit, because really there are so many great little places, and it really depends on what you want to do. If you're looking for just somewhere interesting to eat, it's not open all the time, but it is I guess it's a bit of a hidden gem. We have a lovely restaurant here called Secret Creek.
Oh, I like the
So it's a vegan, and it's amazing. It's a vegan restaurant or catering. They have some open day special events that's sort of how they engage with the community locally. But it's also a wildlife rescue place.
Oh, wow.
So it's this amazing property, beautiful people that run and own there. That's definitely one of my definite picks. And then I think it would.
My list.
You should definitely follow them on their socials. It's amazing. And then I guess outside of that would probably be a nature kind of vibe. You know, we've got so many lovely nature spots. You know, in Portland we have the Mill Pond, which is part of the foundation's property, a big part of that, and it's open 24/7, and it's a trout filled dam, so you can come for a fish.
Oh, wow, you can go fishing.
You can go fishing there, absolutely, but that would probably be a lovely natural hidden gem. That was an old sort of quarry that's now a lovely little lake, lovely walk around it, so
beautiful.
Definitely that. There you go, you got one of each.
I love that. I know my son and my husband would absolutely love that, and I had never heard of it.
Yep,
So very, very
there we
good.
go.
A favourite book or movie?
Oh, look, I am a girly chick flick kind of fan, so I can't imagine it would be anything that anybody else would be much interested in, but I am certainly loving the new season of Yellowstone, so if you haven't got onto that,
Me also.
that's a winner.
I said to my husband, I like it better than Game of Thrones.
Yes,
So
I
good.
couldn't agree more. Yep.
So good. I love it. Favourite quote or rule of life?
I think, okay, quote, maybe that I don't know where I've heard, maybe it's my quote.
Yes.
Balance is not a thing. If you are in business for yourself, that is like another family member, it's another entity in your relationship. Balance is not always a thing, but you can certainly schedule your time to make sure that your priorities in a day might shift. So you might have a kid that needs a little bit more attention than that day. You might need to spend a bit more time with your partner in a day. But I think we beat ourselves up that we don't have this mythical beast called work-life balance.
Yes.
Just don't necessarily think it exists. I think that different things need different amounts of your time and attention in a day, and that is how that probably should be.
Okay.
If you're looking to move forward and be successful in your business, it does really need a lot of your time.
Right, it's all about perspective, and that's a great perspective.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for being here today, Kel. I've really enjoyed it.
Thank
we
you.
wish you all the best with your future endeavours. We'll continue to support you guys.
Lovely.
And thank you for supporting us
course.
through advertising our events and things
Absolutely.
in your publications. It's been great to chat.
Lovely.
Thank you.
Thank you.